Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's video. Going to have a look at the weather next week, 10 days in today's video. It's going to take us well into the first week of August, and it's looking unsettled. We've been talking about this in the videos over the recent days. Unsettled into July and early part of August is the sort of scenario that we're dealing with. Whether we get a building pressure as we go through to the second week of August, that is going to be increasingly the focus, I think, over the next few days. But certainly in the next week to 10 days, it is remaining still in an unsettled mode of weather. We'll have a look and see what's happening at the moment. So this is the 500 millibar height anomaly flowchart from the PSU, Penn State University website. I'd say this takes us to 10 days, which I think it'll be around the 6th, 7th of August. We've got the ECNUF here on the top and the GFS, which I'll have a look at in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 85 feet is an area in the atmosphere. High pressure, low pressure are being moved around by a jet stream running above. Blue is extrapolating to low pressure, red and orange high pressure. You can see what's happening with the ECNUF as a trough of below average heights, low pressure out to our west. We bring in the jet stream indicated by black lines through the Atlantic into the UK. So early August, that looks unsettled and changeable for the first week of August. You'd expect showers, if not longer spells of rain, to be coming in with that. The GFS is very similar. They're always ever so slightly different in the overall, in the exact detail, but in the overall pattern, they are very similar. So again, below average heights just to our west, bringing the jet stream through, indicated by the black lines there off the Atlantic. Perhaps the only real difference is that there's more ridging going on to our east and to the south a little bit as well. So that is turning things a little bit warmer very briefly. It looks like we could get a very, very brief push up in the temperatures around the middle of next week. It won't last more than 24 hours and will probably be broken down into thunder. But just very briefly for one day next week, could turn quite warm. But the overall scenario for next week, 10 days, is low pressure dominated, and we will have further bands of rain to contend with. These are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for Birmingham, and we can see that it's going to be generally quite cool. The red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average. We're cooler than average at the moment, more or less staying cooler than average through the rest of the week and into the weekend as well. There's that little push up in temperatures I was telling you about for the middle of next week, just for around 24 hours on Wednesday into Thursday. We could really push those temperatures up very briefly. It's going to be very unstable push up in temperatures if it comes off. And it may well stick to our east anyway, but if it does go off, it'll be very unstable, probably break down in thunder. And you see that very quickly we cool back down to generally a little bit below par. So overall, the next week, even a couple of weeks, is looking quite cool, and with precipitation as well. Regular rainfall spikes coming through the rest of the week and into weekend. A little bit of a drier slot perhaps early next week, and then this stuff here is associated with this lift up in temperatures, and that might be producing something a little bit thundery. After that, possibly a bit of a drying trend into the second week of August, but it's too far away to have any confidence about. These are the surface temperatures in terms of the ensembles. Again, this is for Birmingham, so we've got 20 degrees just here, 10 degrees just here. And generally, if you're under 20 degrees in Birmingham at this time of year, it's going to be a bit cooler than average. You can see that the model or the ensemble wants to keep temperatures at or below 20 degrees going into next week. A little bit warmer through the middle part of next week. There we go. We're getting some of those ensemble members up to around 25 degrees. So just for one day, early in the middle part of next week, I should say, does turn warmer. But it only lasts a day, and then we're back under 20 degrees again as we're heading off into the second week of August. For precipitation-wise, I should say for pressure-wise, maybe signs of a recovery. I talked about this yesterday in the video. So this is where we're starting off with the GFS ensembles in terms of pressure in Birmingham, around or under 1010 millibars, which is quite low really for the time of year. We keep it at that level going into the start of August, which is just there. And then for the second week of August, and that's this period just here, perhaps signs again that we're beginning to get a recovery in pressure coming along. So it does look as though we might, for the second week of August, we might see pressure start to build back from the Azores. But you notice there's no real lift up in the temperatures with that. Certainly nothing definitive anyway. So if we do find the Azores high ridging back, it's possible that it's just going to be sitting to our west-southwest and bringing in relatively cool sort of northwesterly or perhaps even northerly winds, something like that. So yes, pressure might recover through the second week of August. It might turn drier and maybe with a bit more sunshine, but perhaps not all that much in the way of heat returning. Far too far away anyway to be having any confidence in. Temperature anomalies for the next week. This takes us from the 27th of July through to the 4th of August, coming out around maybe a little bit cooler than average generally. Precipitation anomalies around or a little bit above average generally. So cool and unsettled sums it up for the rest of July and into the first days of August. In America, the east-west split continues. Western parts of the states looking very warm, significantly hotter than average through much of the west of the states. Over in the east of the states, though, it's significantly cooler than average. They're having a cool summer over in the eastern part of the breadbasket of America. And that remains the case for the next week, from the 27th of July to the 4th of August. Precipitation anomalies, we continue to see quite wet weather down in the southwestern part of the states. That's mostly associated with thunderstorms. And generally, where it's hottest, it's wettest out in the west. In the east, where it's coolest, it's also a little bit drier as well. Coming back to the UK then, but just pull out a little bit. There we go. So we come back to the UK, and this is how things are looking for Monday, with low pressure rolling in from off the Atlantic into Tuesday and Wednesday. Well, this is that lift up in temperatures I was talking about. We've got a deep area of low pressure out to our west with a central pressure of 985 millibars just there. But over to the east, we are on the east side of that low pressure. We are getting a very brief ridge developing. This is beginning to push the winds up from the south. So that's starting to bring hotter air up from the south on Wednesday, 2nd of August. There's the upper air temperatures lifting up on Wednesday, the 2nd of August, starting to become rather warmer, especially so in the south. But by the time it goes through to Thursday the 3rd, it's all over, and that deep area of low pressure is just rolling in and cutting off the southerly flow. Maybe some sort of thundery interlude with that as well. There's the upper air temperatures showing that whilst it is still warm at 6 o'clock in the morning in the southeast on Thursday, by the end of Thursday, that's all gone off into Germany, and cooler air is coming back. So just for 24 hours, through the middle part of next week, it might turn warmer, hotter down in the south-southeast, but very, very quickly that is shunted off into the continent. And then we're back into those westerly winds, cool and showery winds running up towards day 10. This is the chart for day 10, where it's still looking relatively unsettled. Beyond that, the 6-o'clock run of the GFS is again keen to start to ridge in the Azores high, throw the ridge up from the Azores. So that does look drier. Hopefully will be sunnier as well, although the upper air temperatures, as we saw on the ensembles, the upper air temperatures, nothing to get excited about, overall looking rather cool. Although, of course, in the August sunshine, that is going to be pleasantly warm. It is August, so when the sun comes out, it's going to be pleasantly warm under a ridge of high pressure. But no real sign of a heat wave at the moment. Just looks like the second week of August might see a recovery in pressure. East Anglia finally, so showery conditions through the start of next week, quite cool as well. Then we get this low pressure temporarily stalling to west of Ireland, and that starts to push up some hotter air from the south Wednesday into Thursday, but by Friday it's gone very quickly back into those westerly winds, and then right up to day 10, still looking relatively cool and unsettled. That's the chart for day 10, and it's still looking pretty showery, especially so up in the north. That takes us to the 6th of August. So the first week of August, still looking cool and showery. Beyond that, we might get a recovery in pressure for the second week of August, and that will probably be increasingly the focus of the updates over the next few days, see whether this recovery in pressure does come off. If it does come off, then it will turn warmer and drier, but the high pressure perhaps not getting into a position to do anything particularly hot, just improving weather a little bit as we go through into the second week of August, possibly. And we'll have more on that, of course, with JMA Friday tomorrow, where we'll have the Japanese update for the next month. Still waiting for the CFS monthly charts to update. It's still not updated. Haven't updated since 22nd. Not sure what's going on at the CFS website. Hopefully by tomorrow they will have updated and we'll be able to include the CFS with the JMA as always. If not, then we'll only have the JMA for JMA Friday tomorrow. But whatever, we'll have the next instalment for you at Gazla Viz tomorrow, so come back for that. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.